This presentation is brought to you by Secular Education Association in conjunction with Defense of Democracy. Secular Education Association, or SEA, formerly known as Parents Against LifeWise, began in 2023 when a group of concerned parents found each other and started comparing notes about an organization called LifeWise Academy, an organization that had infiltrated their respective public schools. Since then, SEA has established a network of over 10,000 concerned parents and community members from all over the country. We believe that our public education system is invaluable and must uphold the principles of fairness, equality, and academic neutrality. We strive to preserve the separation of church and state, a fundamental cornerstone of our democracy. In this video, we will explain in detail the difference between LifeWise Academy and something known as Release Time for Religious Instruction, or RTRI, which refers to programs where students, with parental permission, are excused from school during the day to receive off-campus religious instruction. In 1952, the Supreme Court upheld one specific New York school's implementation of this type of program in the case of Zorak versus Clausen. The program in question was deemed constitutionally permissible because the program was voluntary, off-site, didn't use public funds, and the school did nothing more than release students. Following these guidelines has been a long-standing practice. For years, all around the country, these types of programs have been used as a way to provide children the appropriate environment to further understand the faith and practices of their family's religion, whatever they may be. LifeWise Academy, on the other hand, takes advantage of release time for religious instruction accommodations by using a plug-and-play program that has been compared to a multi-level marketing scheme. Their vision statement clearly states that their goal is to, quote, reach unchurched students in public schools. Unlike other RTRI programs, this is about conversion. Religious extremists have been targeting youth in grade schools for decades, often quoting an evangelical study called the 4 to 14 window. They know that indoctrinating children 14 and under with a Christian worldview makes them statistically more likely to carry these views into adulthood. We will illustrate how they are doing this with such success. But first, let's talk about how we were able to uncover LifeWise's plan to evangelize public school children. In 2024, Secular Education Association exposed LifeWise Academy and their fundamentalist beliefs when one of our founders published their curriculum online. Here are just a few of the alarming statements found in some of their internal documents. In their Boosting Enrollment handout, LifeWise instructs their volunteers to provide students with an Invite a Friend flyer, rewarding students who are able to recruit other children to attend LifeWise with them. Other manipulative tactics include encouraging volunteers to access their school's directory information, outfitting the LifeWise kids in special t-shirts, and asking to be invited to school's open house events.
It is all above board until it's not. No school staff person does anything until they do.
Chapters promised ice cream or popcorn parties if kids got their friends to sign up. Another Ohio mom sent NBC News this note her child received from a classmate on LifeWise letterhead, pre-written to say, "My favorite part of class is," the classmate writing everything and inviting the child to join LifeWise.
The LifeWise Statement of Faith reads, quote, "At physical death, the unbeliever enters immediately into eternal, conscious separation from the Lord and awaits the resurrection of his body to everlasting judgment and condemnation." Imagine, if you will, a child returning to school from a LifeWise outing and approaching their fellow Jewish or Muslim classmate with the news that because of their religious beliefs, they will be condemned and judged. Unfortunately, this isn't an imaginary or theoretical situation. We have dozens of reports from parents whose children came home from school upset after bullying instances just like this. LifeWise has a much larger political agenda than they would like to publicly admit. They have deep connections to organizations such as the Heritage Foundation and First Liberty. LifeWise has written proposed legislation in order to change state laws all across the country and have already successfully done so in 3 states. Their newest legislation model was recently adopted by the National Association of Christian Lawmakers. The NACL has legislative members in 31 states and one mission, quote, "to restore the Judeo-Christian foundation of our nation." Make no mistake, this legislation model, which is being introduced on behalf of LifeWise in 14 states this year, was carefully and intentionally designed with the hopes of overturning the federal precedent established by the Zorak case in 1952. Let's take a quick look at what LifeWise classes actually look like.
Oh, this is really bad. Barbie thinks that church is dumb. But Betty, she loves church. She loves learning about the Bible.
Having little or no interest in church is not bad behavior, and teaching this mentality does nothing more than cause division. An internal document titled Difficult Questions outlines how LifeWise instructs their employees and volunteers to address questions that children might have about being transgender, being gay, sex before marriage, cohabitating before marriage, getting a divorce, and more. All of these things are considered sinful, and by being so or doing so, you are going against God's word. And as we all know, going against God's word ultimately ends up in punishment. Now, let's discuss some very real safety concerns with LifeWise. Lack of appropriate vetting by LifeWise of their employees is certainly one of the most upsetting and potentially dangerous issue of all. LifeWise Academy is not required to follow the same stringent regulations and background checks as public schools do. This lack of oversight results in hiring unqualified teachers, bus drivers, administrators, and worse.
A teacher fired from an Ohio school district is now on administrative leave from LifeWise after she was named to lead one of its local chapters. Renee Beck was fired from Loudonville Perrysville schools in Ashland County in 2018. Over allegations that she was sending explicit text messages to students. She later surrendered her teaching license.
Now let's take a closer look at the schools that LifeWise is targeting next. This map shows the progression of LifeWise's national growth. You can access this map on our website at parentsagainst.lifewise.online/map. Here we have step 10, the final step in LifeWise's launch plan. We are looking at schools where a local chapter is up and running, actively indoctrinating students to a Christian evangelism. Now, let's look at schools just one step behind in the quote, execute the plan phase. Step 9 is the local LifeWise team preparing for a successful launch. At step 8, the local LifeWise director and volunteer board are receiving in-person and online LifeWise Academy training. Schools on step 7 have a local steering committee that has been set up to identify the leadership team that will launch a LifeWise Academy in their community. On step 6, public school officials will be presented with a written request to move forward. This is a crucial step and in many cases the last chance to stop LifeWise from gaining a foothold. Step 5 is the point when a LifeWise steering committee connects with a LifeWise corporate coach in order to prepare the proposal that is sent on to school officials. At step 4, a LifeWise steering committee is being formed within the unsuspecting community. This is also a crucial period, as there is still time to raise awareness and mobilize your community to stop their presence. At step 3, individuals interested in launching a local LifeWise are asked to contribute a $500 launch fee, demonstrating their commitment to the mission and funding the efforts of getting the following steps completed. Communities listed as being in step 2 should expect a LifeWise kickoff event in the near future. Most kickoff events take place at local evangelical churches where members are shown a LifeWise presentation. This is step 1. Almost our entire map is green. Step 1 is collecting signatures on a virtual form that says, I'd like to have a LifeWise Academy started in my town. Chances are that a school district near you is currently in this phase. Our research shows that there is no verification as to where these signatures come from. Literally anyone can sign their name to this form, whether or not they are actually members of that community. We believe that this map is an invaluable resource. It can help inform your community if you are fortunate enough to be between steps 1 and 6 of the LifeWise launch. Don't worry, in the unfortunate case that your district falls between steps 7 to 10, we are still here to help and provide support. For more information, resources, documentation, or to join the discussion, please scan the QR codes and don't forget to join our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at contact@seculareducationassociation.org.